Hello and welcome to today's coffee break demo. Thank you for joining and having a coffee with us today. My name is Fabiana and I'm one of the senior solution consultants here at Sage Intacct. Now, before I jump into the software to demonstrate the key benefits and value Sage Intacct can bring to your organization, I'd like to give a brief overview of our solution. Sage Intacct started in 1999 and Sage acquired it in 2017. It was then launched in the UK and Australian market in 2019. And now in 2023, we are serving over 14,000 customers globally, and it is Sage's flagship medium cloud-based solution. So at the heart of Sage Intacct is the core financials function. This enables finance to support the business in a flexible and timely manner. Being on a cloud platform, you can run the business securely from wherever you are. Built on top of the financial core are key business processes that support growing businesses such as multi-entity, multi-currency consolidations, revenue management, and many more. Over time, we have also built out industry-specific solutions, such as for non-profit organizations, software and SaaS, and many more. Sage Intacct is a modern financial management platform which provides a robust and scalable solution. Our platform provides you with real-time insight into your business through dashboards and reports. It will save you time during month end with our continuous consolidations. We can streamline your business processes like quote to cash and procure to pay. And this is all based on a modern cloud platform which can scale as you grow. Sage Intacct will provide you with the best-in-class financial solution. Now, with its open APIs, it allows you to select other best-in-class solutions for other functions of your business, ensuring you are not tied into a single vendor platform, which is supported by Gartner's view that we're now in the era of postmodern ERP, the shift away from a single vendor mega suite. And here are some of the marketplace partner solutions that we work with regularly. Here are some of the signs that you may have outgrown your current system. And these are some of the common themes that we hear all the time. Not having the best visibility, lots of manual processes, lots of information in silos, insufficient audit trails, and restricted growth. And this is why I wanted to highlight some of the reasons businesses choose Sage Intacct. We were native cloud from day one. We have that automation around our processes. We can provide multiple dimensional reporting. We've got easy integration to third-party solutions and also using our open APIs. And you'll have the ability to have the visibility of information in real time. So what are we going to see today? I'm going to give you an overview of Sage Intacct, and I'm going to cover off 4 key areas: our role-based dashboards, our dimensional reporting, our multi-entity structures, and our consolidation process. And then I'm going to finish with our purchase to pay process. So Sage Intacct is a cloud-based solution, as I mentioned. You have the ability to have different role-based dashboards. So your user can have its own dashboards, and you can then share those dashboards amongst your users, or you can have your own dedicated one. Now, within the dashboards, as you can see, there are a variety of different widgets that you can have on your dashboard. From the top here, we have KPI metrics, so what we would call performance cards. And all of this information is drillable right down to the source. So for example, on my general and admin expenses, I can drill right down to the detail. This then takes me to a dedicated report where I can see a breakdown of my nominal accounts. And then from here, I can drill further down into the detail. Here is a general ledger report where it's showing a subset of transactions. And then I can drill right down to the source information, in this example being a journal entry. Now, throughout Sage Intacct, you've got the ability to drill right down to the detail from a dashboard or from a report. So it makes it far easier to get visibility of what's going on within your business or within your departments, and you can easily get access to that information in real time. As I come down my dashboard, there are other examples of different types of reports and widgets that you may want to have on your dashboard. For example, down the right-hand side here, I've got examples of some financial reports where I've applied some color scaling. And again, where it's highlighted in blue, I have the ability to drill down into the detail. As well as financial and operational style reports, we also offer graphical style reports that you can configure and set up yourselves. And it also comes with a number of pre-built reports and graphical style reports as well. And again, all of this information is drillable. And then finally, on my dashboard here, I wanted to highlight our Intacct Collaborate tool. This is a communication tool which will allow you to add transactions, comments against your transactions. So for example, here I've got a feed where it's showing various different comments that have been left against different transactions between a few different users. And it's a great way to be able to keep that communication in the system related to your transactions or to your reports, rather than outside of the system, you know, via email or via Teams or whatever communication tools that you use within your business. So it's a great way to keep all of that information in the system, but also when it comes to things like month end or year end or even auditing, you've got the ability to look back and see why things were posted, why that particular transaction was approved. So it's very handy for that. And then finally on this dashboard, which we will have a look at a little bit later on, is you've got the ability to have lists of approvals on your dashboard as well. So if you're responsible for, let's say, approving purchase transactions or payments, you've got the ability to have a list on your dashboard. So as soon as you log in the morning, you immediately can see any transactions that are awaiting your approval. The next area that I wanted to cover off was a little bit more around Sage Intacct's structure and how we structure the system, so via our entities, our accounts, and our dimensions. So I mentioned that Intacct is a multi-entity solution, and in comparison to some of the smaller products out there where you can set up more than one entity, but it would be a single instance and you would have to log in, log out in order to access your information. With Sage Intacct, it's one database, so you've got the ability to have as many entities set up on the system as you like. So as you're looking to scale and grow, maybe expand out into other countries, you can set all of those entities up in the one system. Now, in terms of being able to access those different entities, you may have noticed that I'm currently at top level, so I can see across all of my entities that I have set up in my system. But if I wanted to switch to look at one of my other entities and see a slightly different lens and different reports, then from the drop-down list here, I can select one of those entities. So for example, if I wanted to look at my US entity, then all the system does is opens up a separate tab in my web browser, giving me the ability to now have a look at this dashboard in a different entity. And as you can see, the currency has changed based on my selection as well. Now, some of the reports, as you can see here, are not set up to be utilized within this entity, but you can see where now I'm in a different entity, it's now changed that view. So it's nice and easy to be able to switch between your different entities. You can also see I've got a UK entity here set up as well. So you can have as many tabs open at one time. So you can work in between and across your different entities to make life easier for you. If I come back to my dashboard here, the other area that I wanted to just delve into a little bit more was around our dimensions and the accounts. Now, your chart of accounts will be set up, but what we can also have is account groups as well, which then from a reporting perspective makes life far easier. Now, what do I mean by account groups? Well, you may remember just a moment ago where I drilled down from one of my KPI metrics. They are actually using our account groups. So it gives you the ability to group up multiple accounts. So if I drill into this one here for my operating expenses is what I would class as an account group, as well as general and administrative expenses as well. And then below are all the individual accounts. So when it comes to building out your reports or building out these KPI metrics, it's much easier because you can just select the account group that you have set up, and it will then pull through all of the information within that account group. What we can also do with the accounts is when it comes to dimensions, which I'll explain a little bit more in a moment. So if you think about department, or you might call it cost center or project code, we can link those to our accounts. And when I say link, what I mean by that is you can set mandatory dimensions in order to be able to capture those against your transactions. So the way in which we use those dimensions is we tag those against your transaction lines, and then from there you can then start to slice and dice your reports in multiple ways, giving you that flexibility and also that granular detail. Now let's see some of those dimensions in action. So on this dashboard here, I've got this revenue trend report, which has captured multiple dimensions within the one report. So down the left-hand side here for my rows, I've actually got my dimensions. And then across my columns, I'm actually capturing my revenue accounts. And I've also got a period percentage variance calculation as well. So this is where with the reports and within the report writer, you can either structure it with your rows looking at your accounts or with your dimensions, and then vice versa. So coming back to the dimensions, there are a number of dimensions that come out of the box with Sage Intacct with the core, and that is 7 different dimensions. And then with additional module offerings that we have, they will also come with their own dimensions. What we find is usually what comes out of the box is more than enough, but of course sometimes some customers need more, so you can purchase additional dimensions if you need to. But with the dimensions, like I was explaining around the accounts, is that we can also have dimension groups. So here, regions, as you can see, are actually dimension groupings that are linked to my customer dimension. So if I was to drill into, let's say, region for the London and South East, this then takes me to the same report, but now focusing in on that region for those customers. So I get more detail down at the lower level here. And this shows me a breakdown of all of my customers within that region for the London and South East. So that is where I'm utilizing my dimension groups and extending out the analysis from my, what I would say, my core dimension being a customer. So that's where you can really start to see the power of the dimensions, because then as we come down this report, I'm also utilizing other dimensions within the same report. So here, I've got different sectors that I'm selling into, different segments, different service levels that I'm offering, and also the products or services that I'm selling as well. So that's where you can really start to get a different lens, a different view across your business. And it might be that today you're not maybe analyzing it in multiple ways, that's fine. But if you're thinking about, expanding out, whether that's within the UK or into other countries, you can then start, as you grow as a business, start to actually then analyze it in a bit more detail, because you will have that functionality to do so, and all within the system as well, rather than outside in silos on spreadsheets. Just one last thing around the dimensions. On your dashboard as well, what you will have the ability to have is filters along the top here, and you can utilize the dimensions to filter down on the information that is displaying on your dashboard. So here you can see I've got one for my departments. I'm also filtering on my UK entity. So this is utilizing the location dimension. And then I've also got one for my customers here, where I can filter on specific customer or customer groups, or just across all of my customers. So again, it gives you that focus and that dedicated analysis on particular areas within your reports. So the next area that I wanted to cover today was around our consolidations. So it might be today that you are struggling and you might have strategic goals where you're looking to expand into new locations, but your current system isn't allowing you to do so because, as I mentioned before, you might have multiple instances rather than the one system. So with that, that creates a headache. And when it comes to then consolidating your books at month end, that's a time-consuming task. And you're having to export your information out of your finance system into Excel spreadsheets and then do your consolidation there. Now with Sage Intacct, what we will provide is we've got a consolidation module that will allow finance teams to manage your entities, manage your reports and consolidations all within the one finance system. What it also will allow you to do is to auto-eliminate any intercompany transactions as well. So if we start with having a look at how we set up the consolidations. So using my bookmarks here, I am going to have a look at how I set up my consolidation books. So your consolidation books, you can have as many of these set up as you like. It might be that your consolidation is fairly simple today, or it might be that you require to have multiple consolidation books. Now, you're not restricted, so if you did require more than one, then that is fine and we can set those up. But let's have a look at one of my UK consolidation books that I've set up. And I'm just going to talk you through some of the highlights that I wanted to cover here. So on the book information, if you are a multi-currency business, then you can set what the currency is going to be to consolidate up. If you are just a UK company and it's all in GBP, then that's fine. We can still take advantage of the consolidation module. But if you are, if you have got entities in other countries and you're going to be required to do currency revaluations, then at this point you can set the translation method and which accounts those currency exchange gains or losses are going to be posted against. Then you have your entities to consolidate. Now it's very easy to select which entities you wish to consolidate, and at any point as you add on new entities, or you may no longer need to consolidate that particular entity, it's very easy to come in here, edit your consolidation books and make those adjustments. Now, of course, providing you've got the permissions to make those changes, because that can all be driven by your user's role and their permissions. But if you do have that ability to make those changes, then it's a couple of minutes exercise and you'll be ready to go and continue on with your consolidations. So that's how you would select your entities to consolidate. Then what we also have, if you do require to raise intercompany journals or intercompany invoices, and at the moment, if you're having to do that process manually, then we can automate that process, but you might also then be having to do elimination adjustments manually and raising those journals manually each month. Now with Sage Intacct, you won't have to do that anymore, because what we have is the ability to auto eliminate any intercompany transactions that have gone through the system. So by having this option checked, that will enable you to automate that process. What you also have the ability to have is an elimination entity, so you can just clearly see those elimination transactions that have gone through, and then apply an adjustment account to see where those elimination adjustments have been posted to and to which account. Then, depending on what dimensions you're going to be using, you can select those, so those transactions are then included. And then finally, just coming back to the intercompany transactions, the system will pull through your intercompany accounts, and then if you had any additional ones that you've set up, then you can also include those, so those eliminations can occur. So that's how we would set up the consolidations. And then in terms of being able to run the consolidation, it's very easy. So you would come in here, you would select your consolidation book, you would then select the period range that you wish to run the consolidation for. And then as you can see, for this year, I've run my consolidation up to April, so not doing so well. However, I have got the ability to rerun my consolidation during the month. So earlier you might have heard me talk about continuous consolidations. So what we mean by that is with Sage Intacct, the consolidation process isn't a process that you have to wait until the end of the month to be able to run and do. You can run it throughout the month and throughout the year. So that's what we mean by continuous consolidation. So it gives you that ability to keep running it and not having to wait right up until the end of the month where you're going to have other tasks that you need to tick off and get done. This can be processed throughout the month. And what you can also do is rerun it. Now, if you want to rerun it, I'll show you what the options that you get. So within here, this is where you actually then set off the consolidation. The recommended way is to update with any net changes, and most people will just have that option selected and rerun it for the month. But for whatever reason, you might wanted to have deleted the previous consolidation run and reconsolidate. You've also got that option there. You've also got the option to consolidate offline, so you can get this all ready, select consolidate offline, and then as and when you're ready, you can then set off the consolidation. But in terms of consolidating, it's very easy. You just select the consolidate now, and then the system will then run the consolidation process. And then finally, if you really wanted to automate this process, there is the ability to set up a recurring schedule. I know for some customers, it might be that they need to run this on a daily basis. So having this recurring schedule option is really handy. But it might be that you want to run this on a weekly basis. So when I spoke about, the continuous consolidation process, not having to remember to rerun it every week, you could just set up this schedule and it will just run in the background. It will notify you via email that it's successfully processed or if there are any errors that have occurred. So that is a nice thing to have, and it's an option there if you so wish. And then finally, just to wrap up on the consolidation process, I've got a dashboard here to show you some of the consolidated reports that I've got here. So as you can see, the first one here, consolidated balance sheet, which has been built out using our report writer. And you can see that I've got multiple columns across different countries, and I've also got that elimination subsidiary as well, where I can clearly see those intercompany eliminations and where those have occurred. And I've got the ability to drill down into the detail there if I wanted to. And then finally, the final column is your total roll up of all of your locations and the total consolidated figures there. And then as I come down, a P&L report, I've also got a cash flow detailed report as well. And then the same reports, but looking at a more of a global view, and consolidating up into dollars rather than pounds. So just to show you that multi-currency aspect of Sage Intacct as well. And you may remember me mentioning around having approvals on your dashboard. So here on Emma's dashboard, what she has is a list of transactions that are awaiting her approval. So I can see at the top here, I've got the requisition for the laptops for a total of £2,500. Now, before I approve it or even reject it, I can go and drill into the transaction and do some final sense checking before I actually approve this. I can also look at my spend management. So the Spend Insight, this is an additional module that you can add on to work alongside your purchasing and also working alongside your budgets and having that budgetary control over your spend. And then what you'll have is this button here where you can drill in and see your budget versus your actual and how many funds are available. But as you enter your budgets and process your transactions, you'll be able to have that analysis. And then what Intacct will do is if you exceed your budget, you can set it to warn or actually put that transaction on hold. So in this case, I'm going to now approve it. I have got the option to add any comments at this stage, but I'm just going to continue on and approve my requisition. So now I can now continue on in the process. So via my favorites here, I'm now going to pick it up and convert this now into a purchase order. So now I've converted this into a purchase order. I don't have to enter any additional information at this stage. As you can see, everything has filtered through from my requisition. So I can now go ahead and submit. Now, furthermore into the process, as I said, I could go and receipt it, or I can jump straight through to invoice. Now, just for today's purpose, I'm going to jump through to the supplier invoice. Now, of course, in reality, what's going to happen is you're going to receive your supplier invoice through most likely via email nowadays, and it'll be in a PDF format or a Word document. And then what you could got the ability to do is then to enter that invoice or say convert it from your purchase order or your receipt. And then at this stage, the only thing that you need to enter really is your supplier document number, which is going to be your invoice number that has come through on the physical invoice. So I'm just going to do today's date for this, and what you can also do is attach the physical invoice. So you can upload it into Sage Intacct and then attach it if you so wish. So you've got that physical copy attached as well. And then I can now go ahead and submit. What this will also do is hit my AP subledger as well. So if we just now drill into the transaction screen and I can go and have a look at my posting details, I can now see my subledger postings that have occurred, and it's automatically created my journal. I can also see that it's posted an AP purchase invoice to update my accounts payable ledger. And then, of course, the final stage in this process would be to actually go and do the payment run, which I'm not going to do today, just conscious of time. But that would be obviously the natural stage that you do your payment run, whether that's a weekly payment run that you do or a monthly payment run currently. And there's also a payment approval option available at the payment stage as well. But I just wanted to briefly just talk you through some of the key elements and how you set up a report within Sage Intacct, and to show you how user-friendly our report writer is. So you've got your report information, the report structure, how do you want to structure out this report? Then from your rows, as I mentioned earlier around the account groups, this is where having those account groups set up and the way Intacct is structured, it means it allows you to select different account groups or just the one. As you can see here, I've got my net income account group, and then all it is a drop-down list. You would select the account groups that you wish to be included in your report, and then it will pull down that account group and then all of those individual accounts. Now you've got the option to set this as to look at the detail or to look at the summary. If you select summary, you also have the ability to expand out your rows by dimensions as well. So it might be for your revenue, you may want to split this out by customer or maybe by items or services that you've sold. So again, that gives you the ability to have that lower level of detail when it comes to the analysis. Then from the columns perspective, in this case, this is looking at my actuals, but you might be doing an actual versus budget report, or it might be structured in a slightly different way where you've got the accounts across your columns. But effectively, all it is drop-down lists. If you wanted to expand your columns by your dimensions, again, you can do so. So in this case, I'm looking at my P&L by department. So that's where I've got my department selected. And then finally, you can then filter on your report. So again, I'm filtering on my departments, but also my location. But if I wanted to include any other additional dimensions that I wanted to filter this report on, I can do so. And then from a formatting perspective, this is really for when you're printing out the report or sending it out via PDF. You can select the format, the font, the size, the color, etc., how you want to set that. And then on your rows and totals, similar to Excel, do you want to underline your totals? Do you want to show currency symbols, etc.? So you can get into the detail there around your rows and totals formatting. That was everything that I wanted to take you through today. So just a recap of what we've seen. I started off with showing you a bit around the role-based dashboards and the insights and the information that you can gather on your dashboards with our reporting. I then delved into around Intacct's structure, so around the entities, around the accounts, around the dimensions, and how those dimensions can be embedded within our reporting. And then I took you through a couple of processes around purchase to pay, how we can speed up that process, how we can introduce approvals, how we can introduce extra levels of control around spend management. And then I also covered off the consolidation process and how we talk about that being continuous. And then we just wrapped up on the reporting around the report writer, the ease of use. It's easy to use, it's built for finance end users. So hopefully that has come across today, and hope you found it useful. So now I'm going to stop for any questions that you may have and take those for you and answer them. And then with that, I'd like to say thank you for joining us today. And if you have any other information that you want to find out about Intacct, then you can go to our website, and a member of the team will be in touch if you require to further explore Intacct and go through a more detailed, tailored demonstration. Thank you for listening.